Hi and welcome back to this YouTube channel. This is Elena the Greek, and today's message has to do with anger. I don't know. Nice. I had in mind to start a channeling, to do a channeling from Pleiadians, the Pleiadians Collective. But for some reason, I was redirected to do this video now about anger, about this feeling that shows up a lot lately for many of us, especially when it comes to a transition, when it comes to a transformation stage of transformation to speak properly. And in this space, we are going to explain, we, me, and my guides, how we handle and how we navigate anger, this specific feeling that comes a lot from the sacral chakra, the second one, the orange one, and it is connected also with the crown chakra. So sacral and crown chakra are directly connected. And you may have heard about sacred anger and what that is, how we use that sacred feeling emotion in order to change things in our realities. Before we get to that step of the sacred anger, how do we navigate anger normally in our everyday lives? Why it shows up as a feeling? What does it mean, first of all? Usually, anger means something needs to change. Something is not in alignment with you. Something needs to shift. And your awareness, probably your consciousness, is picking up what is wrong, what needs to shift and change, but your awareness is not exactly sure. She's catching up. She's catching up. That's a Greek thing because it is a female in Greek, but female noun. So what we are doing in that is asking questions so we can bring things from the consciousness to the awareness so we can understand why this feeling or any other feeling shows up, what happens, what is going on, and why now anger. Usually, anger, they say, it is the last layer of emotions. There are more layers with other emotions that are piling up before we get to anger. But sometimes it's purely that. It's not just the layers. But we have to understand that anger is also connected with the shadow self. What do I mean by that? When we connect with the higher self, we feel that Zen state, that alignment, that state of being that is beautiful, and that I don't have to interact with everyone. I have just to observe what is going on around me. I don't have to react. I have to act. I have to speak up. You feel how my energy is shifting. When we are talking about the higher self, it is that alignment, that connection. But we also have the shadow self. The shadow self is an extension of the higher self. And some things we don't exactly get through the higher self. We are not exactly following the guidance that is coming through. We are not following what comes through intuition. The shadow self, see the lower in quotes, it's not exactly lower energy. The shadow self shows up through anger to show you that you have to be redirected, not there, here, not where you have in mind you to keep going, but here where I show you. So you will get angry with a specific person, for example, you will get angry with a specific situation, you will get angry probably with yourself as well. So these different directions or sources of how anger shows up. It's for you to figure out what is truly going on, why anger shows up, what is the truth behind that. For me, for example, will feel anger. I'm trying to think and asking my guides as well for a specific example that will help us on this video how to understand why anger shows up. There is always something behind, okay? And you have to hold, you have to pause, you have to stop. Initially, when anger shows up, you want to understand what is going on and why you're getting angry. Or truth will come out of your mouth, literally like that, without you expecting it or without you trying to figure out logically why you are agitated. So your truth will come out like that. You know, we have a phrase in English which I love. It's fun in my mind because you will understand. Spill the beans. Okay, this is the phrase that it makes me laugh. I love it. Spill the beans. And when you are angry, sometimes you will just speak the truth without even trying. And it feels like that. Spill the beans, spill your truth in some ways. You will find yourself in a space where you communicate your truth without any filters on, without any specific filtering from the logical mind. You will be, that is it, and this is why I'm so angry. And you will find yourself in that space. That space is perfect. We try to avoid that. We try to avoid through anger, speaking through anger or communicating with others through anger. But give yourself permission to speak and be yourself at each and every point of time, moment. Just be yourself. Sometimes the biggest truths are actually communicated when you are in an anger mode because you're not filtering yourself. You're not thinking, oh, this is not kind to say, or this is not okay to say, or this is blah, 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 blah. The conditioning we have. Sometimes the truth can be ugly, but it is your truth and it has to be expressed in whatever way needs to be expressed. And through there, you will figure out what your consciousness has perceived, but it hasn't reached your awareness because of this conditioning, the limiting beliefs that are created around how to speak, how to behave, how to be behaving properly, and so on and so forth. Because as children, we are taught how to behave, what to say, what not to say. And as adults, we somehow keep recreating the same patterns instead of breaking free from them because they're not in alignment with us anymore. So forget about what is appropriate, what is properly shared, or what is the kind way to share something. Sometimes you just have to speak your truth. Okay, of course, you have to be kind as possible, but sometimes when someone is stepping in your toes, on your toes, and you're getting into that space of being poked over and over again, you have to finally speak your truth and set yourself free. The next time something similar happens, it won't be explosive. It won't be in a difficult way. So this is how we come to be more vulnerable with others. We are sharing vulnerably ourselves without suppressing our emotions or our thoughts because it's not appropriate to share. Okay. So what I figured out lately from a lot of experiences, some of my clients as well, when you get to a space of not sharing your truth, it will come out explosively with anger. This is my truth. Why aren't you listening? I try to say this too many times so far. Even if you are direct with some people and they are not actively listening, in that space, you have to step back because they're not going to actively listen no matter what you do. They are in their own headspace, they are in their own reality, and they are no longer in alignment with you. So if you're not heard or seen by specific people in your life, no matter what the circumstances, and you keep repeating something and they don't actively listen, step back, see what is going on. It's not your fault. And you have to remember this. Not everything is your responsibility. You can give the message, as we used to say in information technology back in school, they both have the responsibility, the sender of the message and the recipient. You don't have the responsibility of the recipient. If the recipient isn't actually present, doesn't want to hear, isn't connecting with you to actively listen to you, it's not your responsibility to bring them to the present moment. It is their responsibility to be there and actively listen to what you are saying. If they are not there, no matter what you do, how many different things you have tried, then anger shows up and your truth will be shared in anger, but it is okay. You have to remember it is okay. So when we are, my guides are bringing me back into the space of what we are setting. When you are in the emotion of anger, how you can handle it? Either speak your truth. If you need to calm yourself down before you speak your truth, you can take some deep breaths in a very fast way, which we will show. Someone says, nice. So Breathe in, double fast exhalation. And out. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth, double fast exhalation. You will feel a freezing energy in your nostrils, in your head even. It feels like, when you have some ice cream, you feel your brain freezing. Okay, this is how it feels like. It instantly changes your energy, the brain waves, how you feel. It gets the strong emotion out of your system. There is the anger of the sacral chakra. There is also the anger, the mental emotion from the third eye. Okay. So when you find yourself blurry in this area, like something like you see in the cartoon, someone with red eyes because of anger. Okay. That is also a mental emotion connected to the third eye, created in our head space. So the way to change that really fast, if it is needed, okay, we take some breaths, deep breaths, and we inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, double exhalation, and very fast, removing that. In that space, we gain more clarity, we calm ourselves faster. That is one tool. Second tool that you can use is ask yourself, why are you angry? Why am I angry? You may think you know why you are angry, but it may not be the case. The logical mind is trying to create a reasonable excuse why this feeling, so something has to fit into that excuse. In that space, stop trying to fit in things logically, reasonably. Okay, I want you to step back from that, all of that mindset, and ask yourself, why am I angry? It instantly changes you. It instantly changes your perception. From being angry, you're getting into a space of observing yourself and asking why. Why this emotion? Why it shows up? And when you are in that space of asking and pondering, you are creating enough space for the answers to drop. You are receiving the answers. Or if it is something as a repetitive situation and you are asking yourself, why am I holding on to anger? Another key question. Why am I holding on to anger about something specific? Okay. In that space, you're creating space, enough space to receive clarity. You are shifting your perception from being in the emotional state to observing from above the emotional states and state. And you are seeing yourself from above, which at the same time changes everything. So, because we are receiving upgrades in many ways, we are shedding a lot of layers again, which is something that keeps happening lately for many light workers. We are going faster, exponentially faster, someone says, on our growth, spiritual, energetical growth. Our light bodies are being upgraded. So we are releasing a lot of anger very fast, very easily. Sometimes we become aware of it. This is how you can handle it. Some things need to come to your awareness because they will expand your awareness even more. So when you are in that space of doing some breath work, of asking why, be curious. I keep saying that. I don't care if I'm boring, but I will keep saying this. Keep asking questions. The questions are connected to the third eye, they expand awareness, they bring answers in. The more curious you are, the better it is. And don't be cautious with that. Be curious because you are expanding your awareness in understanding yourself and others at the same time. So, two tools so far. Why am I angry? The second tool. Why am I holding on to anger? What is going on? What is going on won't bring many answers, but if you ask why, you will figure out your personal truth in that space. why you are angry or why you're holding on to anger, you will figure out because things from your consciousness will drop to your awareness. And this is how you understand why. There are also always, not also, always pieces of truth when an emotion is triggered. I had to reflect like that many times lately when something reminded me of my teenager years. When I was a teenager, actually, my teenage years, when I was a young adult, situations with friends that repeated lately. And I wasn't triggered emotionally that back then in that space. I was, what happened now? Kind of thing as an emotion. But this time, my anger was triggered when something was repeating itself as an event, as a situation, and with different people, not the same people. So I was, what is going on now? What is the emotion? Why was I triggered like that? Why anger showed up in irrelevant conversations with irrelevant people, with things that don't matter exactly. And this is part of the shadow work we do. We always keep setting layers off. So I was reminded of situations, similar situations. Yeah, but why my reaction? And why this? And why that? So I was setting off some layers to unravel what was behind that. And I realized pieces of my truth, parts of my truth that I couldn't exactly understand back then, but I couldn't exactly understand even now. So the more questions I was asking, the more things I was seeing about the truth that was reaching my consciousness, but not my awareness. And I was, oh, that makes so much sense now. I'm gonna share this a very silly example so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. Years ago, really many years ago, I was watching a movie in the cinema back then, not so much now, at the cinema with my best friend back then, and The Hours. I loved that movie. I loved that movie because it was showing three different eras, three different women in that era, in that it's on its era, and how they were interconnected somehow. The one was the writer of a book, the other one was the one who was reading the book, and the third one, I don't even remember now. So much for the favorite book and movie. Anyways, so in that space, my bestie got kind of triggered and was sharing some comments about some of the characters of the movie. And in a very bizarre way, to my understanding, he was commenting something. I don't need to explain that. Anyway, about the characters of the movie. Later on, I was making my nails at some point, not these ones, like a month or 2 months ago, 2 months ago approximately. And the girl that was in that space where she was making my nails, she was sharing something about another series that is on Netflix, The Outlander, which I love as well. And she was sharing again some negative quite judgmental comments about the one of the characters, and I was triggered, and I was triggered with anger. I was, what is going on? I did share some of the things with my truth included in that space of what I believe about the movie. I didn't take it personal, if it makes sense, because it didn't feel personal. Not back then when I heard my friend about commenting about that character of The Hours, and I didn't take it personally either this time again about the Outlander, but I stayed with that later on. Not at that point. I stayed later on with that in my mind and I was asking questions. Why was I triggered? Why did this emotion came up? It wasn't just anger, it was other stuff as well. And why my reaction like that? And through these questions, I was seeing that the person commenting on the character, they had unresolved issues within them. And in my awareness, it made them look like liars. How can I explain this? If you are in your own space, so let me take the example of the latest girl. She's very feminine in her energy. She's working a lot when it comes to dissolving some of the conditioning we still have in Greece about how men should be, how women should be, and all of these things. And I find that quite fascinating that even younger generations have been going through this. And I was always in a space of admiring how she's fiery, she's in that space of claiming what is ours when it comes to women and feminine energies and how we should be treated by others and all of these things. And through that movie, she commented a female character and she was quite judgmental in a huge way. And in that space, I was, what the heck is going on? Why doesn't it feel right to me? Because she was commenting on a female character that she found quite blah, 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 blah. No need to explain that part. And I was, but yeah, this is exactly what you represent. This is exactly what you're working your whole life. This is what you are speaking up about. This is why you are rebelling your whole life. How on earth can you consider this female character like that when it is exactly what you're doing in your life as well? Not the actions, the actual actions, but the whole archetypal energy of the feminine energy. And I was, why? Oh, this is why. This is why it felt like they are liars. Not just the girl, but also my friend that was commenting something else from that movie. It felt to me like they are hiding from their own selves and they are commenting negatively something that they already possess. And this is how you can see the judgment someone holds about themselves already. This is how you can see the conditioning that is running through someone's programming. Even if I am a rebel against that and I'm trying to ground this as an energy, it comes down to me that I still hold judgment over myself. And this is how I judge something that is so similar to me. And I was, oh, this is why I was getting agitated. This is why it felt so off. And okay, now it makes more sense. So this is why I'm saying keep asking questions. You will understand why an emotion is triggered in you. You will understand why you have the reaction you have because a lot of information already exists in your consciousness. And what we are doing with the questions is grounding the answers to the awareness, to our awareness. And this is how the awareness expands. You can do breathing exercises, auric exercises, expand your aura, work on your aura, on your etheric double. All of these are amazing exercises when you want to expand yourself and they expand the consciousness. Absolutely, yes. And the awareness. But at the same time, you have to ask questions in your physical everyday life. This is how we also expand awareness. And the one connects with the other. The energetic exercises we do connect with the logical exercises and the questions we do and how curious we are to expand that awareness and understand and perceive even more. So, when I'm saying sit with your anger to understand why it shows up, it has a purpose, it has a reason, you will understand a lot more about yourself, about your perception, and your awareness. And this is why it is important not to try to dismiss the feelings we don't like. We have a huge range and spectrum of feelings, different intensities of these feelings. Even the subtle ones have a purpose. It doesn't have to be explosive or intense. The subtle ones are how you connect with the energy, how you can give readings, how you can understand someone that you're speaking with, the subtle feelings. And when you pay attention to those subtle feelings, it is exactly when your psychic abilities expand exponentially. But you have to understand yourself also on other levels. Why the intensity? Why this? Why that? Similarly to anger, you can connect with frustration or sadness. Why these feelings? Don't try to just change your frequency in order to vibrate higher. That doesn't exist. You vibrate lower when you don't pay attention to your emotions and to your feelings. And I have noticed that with my guides, we have a theme on specific videos. We explore this from different perspectives. We go to that. If you watch on my YouTube channel, you will see the different subjects being explored in some ways. So explore your feelings, explore yourself, ask questions, allow your energy to expand, your awareness to expand. Your consciousness has already perceived everything. It's about the awareness. So instead of being, I don't want to feel sad, I don't want to feel angry, I don't want to feel frustrated, feel them all and then ask yourself why. Why they showed up. Why at this point of time? What is connected to? There's a previous similar situation. There is always something going on. And through your self exploration, through your introspection, you are expanding on your gifts, spiritual gifts, soul gifts, as we call them. You expand in high frequency by allowing yourself to tap in everything that is lower frequency. Okay, this is the paradox of everything. You expand your high frequencies by exploring your lower frequencies. There's no other way. You can't just dismiss and ignore and be like, I don't want to touch that. Okay, you don't want to touch that, but this is where everything lies. Your light lies in your shadows. If you don't explore your shadows, if you don't explore what you think as toxic, you won't be able to figure out how to get to the light and shine unapologetically and beautifully your true essence. This is the point of everything. Now, about the sacred anger, let me share this, and I think we are okay with today's video. About your sacred anger. Sacred anger, it is exactly as it is said. Sacred anger. It is sacred because it changes everything. Bring in your memory, remember a time where you had a lot of anger, where you wanted everything to change, everything to shift, everything to transform. And you felt that anger. I want everything to change, and that I can't have more of this, or I've had enough of this, or enough is enough. That is the sacred anger. From that space, just because you brought it to your awareness, that you want things to change, things to shift, you created the trigger for every shift that happened after that moment. Let that sink in. Anger is not a lower vibrational emotion. It is important. And of course, we will get to a stage where we won't have to feel anger in order to change stuff. This is the golden era that we are stepping into, the ascension path. We won't be using anger to change things. But at this point, we still do. And if you don't embrace that within yourself, you won't be able to step out of this reality. By embracing all of your emotions, giving permission to yourself to feel all your emotions. And if you tell me that you never feel anger, there's something wrong here. There's something as a block coming from your childhood, either mom or dad or someone else that was responsible for you, and you weren't allowed to get angry on any level. You weren't allowed to have a different opinion or to express that. So this is something that needs to be worked out for you and with you. Now, let me know in the comments if any of this resonated, if you have these moments lately where we are purging through anger this time, not tears, not sadness, not even frustration, but anger, real anger about stuff. And the last point, thank you, is before a breakthrough, before, while we are going through spiritual awakenings, what we experience at some point before we break through the previous stage to the next level is anger. It is one of the feelings we have that is telling us something is changing, something is shifting, something is connected to our growth, spiritual, energetical, emotional, mental growth on every level. And before we bloom, we get to feel that I want everything to change. And apart from that, someone reminds me, why do you do that now? So, one last bit about anger is also boundaries. When you need to be creating new boundaries in your life, it doesn't mean that you don't have good boundaries so far, or they are not firm enough, or that they are not good enough. But when new boundaries need to be created, they will come to your awareness through the feeling of anger. In that space, allow yourself to reclaim your power back that you gave even without even trying, probably not consciously. I'm saying, get into the space of asking questions. Is that a new boundary I need to create? About what? And the whole picture will come to you of how your respect or your worth are being trespassed and why you have to create new boundaries. What has come to your awareness so far? Maybe you weren't respected enough, or in the way you wanted to be respected, or in the way that meant something to you, or your worth wasn't acknowledged, not validated, acknowledged for what it is, for what you offer. So, in that space, reclaim that power back. First step. Second step, create that boundary by stating that this thing is not tolerable anymore. When you say to yourself, write it down, speak it out loud, and probably you will have to communicate it to someone at some point and say that this is not tolerable, this is not okay anymore. In that space, you create in your magnetic field a new boundary, and it is being integrated first and bonded then as a second step. And in some ways, in some cases, you may also have to communicate it to someone. This is not okay anymore. Okay. So this is how pretty much to navigate anger, why it shows up, what is the secret anger, how to actually be in a space of understanding if it is a boundary, if it is something else that needs to reach your awareness from your consciousness to consciousness to your awareness. And in that space, claim that and use it accordingly. I hope this resonated with you. Let me know in the comments if it helped you, in what ways. I know I'm saying things differently from others because this is the feedback I'm getting. But I'm pretty sure these things help because I've been applying those. I've been giving those ways and methods to my students, to my clients, to the people I work with from times to times when they need it. And this is how they shift the reality. They are extremely useful, extremely important tools. They shift our whole perception of everything. Please do apply those things if you haven't already. If they resonate, if they resonate with the situations you are experiencing lately, what I'm trying to say. So let me know how this resonates with you, in what ways, to what level and degree. And please book a session if you need some extra help and support. I'm here to guide you in the best way possible and to whatever you need the most now. I will be happy to work with you in any way and level and capacity you need at the moment. See you on the next videos with the Pleiadian transmission that needs to come through. We had a short redirection at this point of time for some reason. I want to believe and stay in touch. As always, be true to yourself and be your true self.